Hi, welcome to C2C World TV. I'm Yvonne Jones, your host for today's show with our lovely co-host, Robin Eddleman. We are excited to have back Dr. Thomas Hill for our own bi-weekly featured show on C2C World TV called Dr. T's Redox Business Builders School. Dr. Thomas Hill is a longtime professional who seamlessly combines unique management tools with creative network marketing strategies. Dr. Thomas Hill is a proven top 30 and top 20 winner of the National Local Business Person of the Year in Naperville, Illinois, for his innovation and marketing strategies. C2C World TV is specifically designed by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, and today's sponsor for the show is Edible Home Gardens Ranch and RV Resorts and Tiny Home Communities with safe and affordable locations starting at only $250 a month up to $500 a month. Investors can earn a fixed 7% to 12% per annum paid monthly or 35% fixed per each invested RV resort. We're going to have an awesome time this evening as Dr. Thomas Hill walks us through his Dr. T's Redox Business Builder School. Welcome, Dr. Hill. Please start us off by introducing your amazing Dr. T's Redox Business Builders School program and how it can effectively, seamlessly, and strategically grow your business.
Well, I want to say good evening and welcome everyone. And Robin and Yvonne, it's good to be back with you. And just as we were about to come on, I got this coffee spell. I'm trying to clear my throat, so
Oh,
please
no.
forgive me. It's good to be back with you. And yes, about 6 months ago when I launched Dr. T's Redox Business Builder School, it was a combination of some ideas that I've been wrestling around with. And I want to thank Robin first because she's didn't cow tie me or twist my arm a lot because she's been such an incredible friend and business owner in her own right. And when we met a few years ago, she said, "No, you have this great voice. You should be on radio." And I thought, okay, somebody must have paid her off to say that because I'm just me. But it turns out that we started a radio show a couple of years ago, and as things worked out, the radio station went one way, and we went for the provider and the host had some medical challenges, so we took a hiatus last year. And here Robin has also grown in some challenges that they faced, and she emerged like a phoenix from the ashes and goes, "You know what? You're still that guy. We need to get you on a podcast." And so we agreed to do the show back in April on Palm Sunday, if I recall. And it was about God's divine order and some God stories. So thank you for letting me participate with you folks.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
So tell us, lead us into your program. It would be great to hear about what you've been doing, how it starts, and all the little twists and turns of your strategy.
Yeah, an interesting side note, which is why the school kind of came about. I have a couple of doctoral students that I've worked with over the years. A young lady who I did work with here in the Chicago area, suburban area, and she's going through a doctoral program and she's in counseling. And I was thinking about an idea, and I was telling her, I said, would it be great if we could go back to high school for business owners? And that guidance counselor was that person before you went to college. They were telling you, take this test, take that test. What's your dream? What do you want to do? And do you know a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs of all spots and stripes and shapes and sizes? They have coaches. They have people who are telling them what to do, mainly sometimes their spouses. But inside their own unique selling proposition, the things that they really want to do, as Robin said, one day I should have my own church. And I'm like, yeah, Robin, stop. But the funny thing about that, Robin and some other people who have been I think, a really good influence on me, Yvonne, we started a school and I said, what if we could and I told this doctoral student, what if we could have guidance counselors for small business owners? Again, of all spots and
Yeah.
stripes. And so what started out was I launched it a couple of days after Christmas, December 29th to be exact, on school.com, SKOOL.com. And I said, I've got 2 doctorate degrees and 2 master's degrees. I think I'm pretty well educated, but this will be my 48th year in public education here in Illinois. Uh, been qualified to be a state superintendent since the 90s. And I thought, what if I took that experience in network marketing as a professional the last 6 years? As a side gig, I was representing, and Robin knows this, technology that's good for people, in their bodies and their health. But there's more to business and products and services. And if we take an educational approach about goods and services, doesn't matter where it is, I got reacquainted back with Tom Gay. And Tom, 49 weeks ago now, was introducing a tool that was a companion to Engage Pro, and that tool was called Connect IQ. And so another brother from another mother who you guys will be meeting in about 48 hours or so, Paul Odendahl, calls me up from Port St. Lucie. He goes, dude, Tom's got this new something, and I'm not really a techie guy. I hold my own, but I say to people, if you start talking technology to me, if you're not a Bible person, go get one. I want you to go look at 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And it says, when you're speaking in another tongue or another language, right? You better have an interpreter there, because otherwise you're just talking,
Yeah.
you're just talking in the wind. So he was telling me about this AI Connect IQ thing, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. He says, you got to sign up, and I need $20. And I'm going, I can't even spell $20. What are you talking about to give Tom $20 for a tool? Long story short, it was launched. I gave him the $20. We've been doing this going strong for 49 weeks. And what has happened was I was able to take Tom's tools, share that with other business owners. It's called Go Connect IQ now. It's a standalone program. And I've incorporated that in my school. And so what it gives you is a report that highlights a snapshot, really, of a person's alignable profile, their LinkedIn profile, and their website. That's all we collect. But it's not like we're technical terms. They're telling me we don't scrape stuff. It's just, here's what a person has. This is their snapshot. And I took that tool and used it. And we also started that same month, which we had an event today. It's called the Purple Power Partner Group. And the Purple Power Partner Group is a group of people who are about not networking, but nurture working, where we nurture other people who particularly happen to be small business owners. So we combined all of this. We took the recipe and we kind of mixed it up to see what we were going to come up with, Yvonne. And you know what happened? We wound up giving people a tool. And I use the example of, instead of rushing out to California to go for the gold rush, I went the other way and got iron ore and steel and started making shovels, backhoes, teaspoons, pans. And so instead of digging for the gold, I'm selling the tools that people can go, dig for the gold.
I like it.
And yeah, and people who are joining our school, they have different gifts and different positions we have available, but instead of forcing people into a shoebox or like shoehorning them into something that's an organization, this isn't. It is a freestanding institution that allows people to, like water, come at your own level. But I've already built classes in a curriculum for the school that allows you to come in, observe what I'm doing with several other businesses that's anchored with Thomas Mallory Hill and Associates. That's my company. And we weave technology and education or academia, network marketing, and then Tom's tools about building relationships first. I think that's had such a significant impact that it's allowed me to help change what I call the 5 to 6 inches in between people's ears, not change their businesses, but change how they see the world, how they see people differently. So the school is kind of like I guess in some way, a finishing school.
Yeah.
Right? You like that? Where we give you, I'm just also going into cosmetic bits. We'll give you different shades of lipstick and compacts so you can go make yourself up. So yeah, we're having fun. We're having fun helping people.
Awesome. So now take us through, you take somebody, let's say somebody who's green or a newbie like me with your program. What would be the first step?
Well, the class, the school has a membership but I offer it for free. I initially started out with like $10 a month, and we took that away. We just said, let people sign up for free. But I've already prepared classes, and I started with, because the organization is called ASEA, and they have a technology called Redox signaling molecules. You had a colleague of mine on a few months back, Frank Schultz, and he has a tremendous story. I don't have anything close to that, but because I joined it for the business, but I saw that the technology, for those who have stories like that, testimonies, it does work for them. For me, it was the business opportunity that allowed people to be educated about something that they never heard before. I've learned after 45 years in financial services industry and having my own accounting practice when I was 25 in bookkeeping and taxes and stuff, taking that experience and say, if you don't over promise your goods and services, and you try not to under deliver, but just do what you say you're going to do, present the information so that, like you would do the gospel of Jesus Christ, let them find for themselves where they are and how they stand with God. Not me judging, just say, here's the information. Give you an example, may I?
Yes.
There was a guy in the 8th chapter of the book of Acts, and this was after Pentecost, and the Holy Spirit told Philip to, go, I want you to separate yourselves from the other guys. And they found this proselyte. It was an Ethiopian guy, and he was the Queen Candace's, treasurer. But on the way back from Pentecost and celebrating that, Philip approached the guy and said, and he heard him reading about from the prophet we know as Isaiah 53, the prophet Isaiah. He said, what does that have to do with the business school? Well, I'll give you that in a moment. The conversation was going so well with the guy, and Philip asked him one question. He says, do you understand what you're reading? Here's where the guidance part comes in for me. Right. He says, how can I unless someone guide me?
That's right.
So not trying to beat people over the head with scripture or my school, we offer the ASEA people and the things that we're teaching people about for free. So that people who are interested in me or what they think I do, we give them all that for free. We show them how, they can do. And at the same time, ASEA, the company, was going through a metamorphosis by increasing their compensation plan, which I still don't understand. I just know they're paying us more money to do the same thing we were doing before. I don't get that. But anyway, so that information is there. But then I added things like I just shared with you. I did your show like back in April. I combined the God story, because I'm that kind of guy, not parables necessarily, and said, what would happen if you took cellular technology and you combined it with the God story that I delivered for your audiences and said, in fact, I think I might even shared it with you, with your audience. It said, God tells us that he's a jealous God and we shouldn't have anybody before him.
Right.
Right? That we should worship him with all of our heart and all of our soul and all of our mind, all of our strength, our might. Well, the second commandment, because that was the first, is that you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I combined those two commandments with my school and said, I do what I do because I do love my neighbor. Yeah. We give things away because when you give value first, Bob Berg talks about this in his book, The Go-Giver. When you're a giver, when you're giving people value, and not just the word of God, I think that is the most valuable thing we can share, but still the individual has to accept that. You can't force love. You can't force belief, but you can share that with them and they can make up their own mind. And what I learned because of you two and helping me on the program, I learned, well, God doesn't talk about us being jealous. He says he is. But that's what I said. Well, I get it. We're not supposed to be envious of others. Don't kill, don't steal, those 5 that deal with us to each other. Right. Behind me is, you see, a box full of seeds. And I've used Luke 8, the parable of the sower, for prospecting. No. So I've integrated all my faith and what I believe secularly and my education said, what if we could teach people how to prospect, how to find the right soil, how not to give up, how to just be authentic, be
Right.
you, be transparent. Then what happens is we find ourselves, and when you are that kind of person, and Yvonne, we just talked about uh, our birth years, and
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say yours, but I'm gonna say I'm 49 weeks old this Sunday, this past Sunday, the 7th. But in a few weeks, I'll be, the next year. I've spent 49 weeks at 70. I'm excited. I got more understanding, obviously, but I don't want to live this decade like I did the last six.
Right.
So the Business Builder School is just that. It's building up people. It's reinforcing the mindset, not that they can't not just do whatever they decided to do, but what if we gave them the tools that gave them better introductions, better conversations, more meaningful conversations, and
Hmm.
move away from, as Tom talks about, this digital noise
Yes.
and just have conversations one on one.
Right.
Robin is a big proponent of that. And we came together with some other initiatives. Maybe Yvonne, you might want to join us because we found out that when I used to call it H to H, when people start talking to each other,
Hmm.
guess what? Amazing things begin to happen.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
they do.
We're not caught up in the world of,
Yes.
not to say it's that we don't, but racism and
Yes.
sexism and just fill in the ism. I
Yes.
don't have time for that. The ism that I want to occupy my days 24/7. In fact, I'm reading a book called by Augustine Og Mandino, and it's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And he found these 10 scrolls. And so I read one scroll for 30 days. And today's scroll starts out like this: I will greet this day with love in my heart. Now, I can quote it almost, but the habit is, which was the first habit, learning how to just have a habit. But when you love your neighbor as yourself, Yvonne, and you're treating people the way you want to be treated, when you're authentic, you're not trying to persuade or convince, you're just being you,
Yes.
you become a magnet. Do you know what Jesus's recruiting tools were?
Mm.
Had you ever heard of this? If you've watched The Chosen, this series that's come on
Mm.
and got the nation, the world almost captivated about Jesus's 12 disciples.
Hmm.
Jesus's recruiting script was this. You ready? I've been using it lately and I've been killing people. Follow me.
Follow me. Right. Right. I was just reading that, John. Right. I was just reading that. Right.
Just
And
follow me.
washing his disciples' feet, becoming a servant, that's the message, right? We serve each other. We become servants, not masters over each other.
Yep. Yep.
That's true.
Yep. And therein lies a gentleman who wrote a book that was he was an executive for AT&T back in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s. His name was it's going to escape me, not just because I asked for it, but the name of the book was Servant Leadership. Robert Greenleaf was the author. He wrote it for the AT&T and Bell Labs. That when you are a servant leader,
Hmm.
one of my doctorates that I did for educational leadership was looking at leaders, of which I'm part of that conversation and group of people. Superintendents are servants
Hmm.
of any school district. We have to be. Now,
Hmm.
you may come in with a big ego or little ego. You may come in good looking, fat, black, bald, and handsome like me, or you just run of the mill guy or gal. Doesn't matter. But you have to have a servant heart. Now, that's secularly. If we can get what Robert said secularly, and you combine that with a person who has some spiritual understanding and does love God with all of his heart, mind, soul, and strength, he or she, when you really are trying to walk that way, you attract people like Robin. You attract people like yourself. You become a magnet. And
Hmm.
so the game is, I like to say this way too. When we were growing up, there was a game called Follow the Leader.
Hmm.
That's all I'm doing with the Redox Business Builder School. We're setting up leaders to replace me and others to attract people, to give them the tools that they need to enhance whatever they've chosen to do
Right.
and to be a participant with them, not their boss. And I think that's what to me, being a network marketing professional, is in the industry. Network marketing, no matter what your goods and services, allows us to be our own boss. So
Right.
if we succeed, that's your fault. If you fail, that's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not talking to the right people, that's your fault. If
Mm-hmm.
you're talking to too many people, you get to pick and choose your income goals, your whatever. But when you're not being selfish, when you're being that servant leader, when you're a go-giver, as Bob says, you begin to attract people. They just, like Robin, they look for you. And I go, she says, like, Doc, you got to do this show. You got to do this podcast. And I'm like, well, whatever you say, Robin, that's what we'll do. So that's how I won't say snookered because I'm a volunteer. I'm a raving fan of both of you. Robin, I've known a little bit longer, Yvonne. And so I want your show to be special. I want this podcast to attract so many viewers. Maybe I may become the star of your stable or whatever you call it, whatever the team, whatever you call it. I want to be that guy for you two that people say we want to tune in,
Mm-hmm.
not because he's just so special or because he thinks he is. It's because you two need to have conversations with real people
Right.
that are transparent, that are authentic, that are genuine,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe even a little bit vulnerable at times for our show. And I wanted to start with the Redox Business Builders School to highlight it because it's my blood, sweat, and tears. It's me and Thomas Mallory Hill and Associates, but it's really about you. And if we can attract people, educate them, help them become better citizens, better people, like in Romans 12 and 1 Corinthians 12, when you look at the Lord's church, he says that everybody's not an ear or an eye.
Right.
Everybody's not an apostle. Everybody's not doesn't prophesy. Everybody doesn't heal. Everybody doesn't speak in tongue. And if we do, we don't forget we need an interpreter. But all those things that we have, why not enhance the people around us?
Right.
That's what I'm
Exactly. You
thinking.
produce more fruit. I mean, it's like you can't do anything except unless you're attached to the vine. And again, I was talking to Robin today about watching this video with the, seed being planted, and first we're rooted. First we get rooted, and then we nudge up and we blast them from there. But what the cool part is I was watching this video about the seed, because I'm so into the seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching this seed, and it's pushing its way up to the ground for its breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yes.
For its breakthrough.
Yeah.
And then when it breaks through, do you know what it does? This is so cool. I'll have to
Talk
send
to
you,
me.
the coolest part is the new leaves that show up, it busts out of its shell and it starts vibrating and shaking and raising its hands. I mean, think about it. It's giving its first glory, to God Almighty. And I mean, like, it was mind-boggling to watch it actually happen like that, because in fast time,
Mm-hmm.
see it being rooted, you get your breakthrough that you've been praying for. And of course, I can't take the credit, the guy who did this, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
his name, sorry. But anyway, so he did that show, and then you watch the true leaves come up after that, and then the little spirals. And what do the spirals do? Those spirals are like this. They're looking for something to grab onto. And what are they grabbing onto? That's the power rod. But again, apart from that, they die. They wither and die.
You know what you just raised in my mind's eye? The image of when that seedling obviously it's been have enough rain and moisture, and as it's having its breakthrough, you just said it. It's raising its hands to the sun.
It is.
Yes.
How about this one? S-O-N, not
Okay.
S-U-N,
Yes.
because everything is to God's glory.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
And so imagining when you said that, what occurred to me was that's why these seeds behind me. That's why when people are having their individual breakthroughs, if they're not selfish, like James 4 talks about, if they're doing it for the glory of God,
Right.
he will use us, Yvonne and Robin, to help advance his son because he first loved us. It allows us to be that funnel, to be that conduit that allows us to share the glory he put in us, but to also give that energy because we're vibrating. And people are like, oh my goodness.
I know, right.
Isn't it exciting? And you know what's
it is.
really for me when I heard you and Mary Jo and Robin talking about your farms and all that,
Yeah.
I see my role at the school as its owner and founder to say, I want to make sure that they're getting the right nutrients. I want to make sure that
Mm.
there's enough light in
Yes,
us
yes,
that people see God, that people see
right,
Christ, that see people
right.
see that they literally can see the Spirit, because we are the first Bible
That's right.
that
You are the
people will
light.
read.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And when you
Yeah.
want people to see God, how about pretend Paul, the Apostle Paul said, why not be ye imitators of me as I am of Christ? We can do that in our spiritual walk, but we can also do that with our families. We can also do that with our businesses. But here's the other side of the coin. There's always three sides. I was going to say two, right? The other side of the coin is Satan is just doing everything he can
Yes.
to thwart our growth,
Right.
to keep us down. Yeah. And the testing is, he says, if we don't get weary in well doing, we
Mhm.
will reap what we sow.
That's right. Don't
Now,
get weary.
if what you're sowing
Mhm.
is evil and not right, guess you're going to get that. It's in Ecclesiastes 9. You're going to get what you got coming to you,
Right.
because we all have one thing in common, and that is death. So whether you're wise or foolish, Solomon said, whether you're gifted or not, whether you're strong or free, all of that comes to a point where you say, wow, I gave it all this work and it's for nothing. That's in Ecclesiastes 2. I did all this work. I got all this money. I got all these goods and services. But guess what? I don't know if I'm going to leave all of this, because I can't take it with me, to a wise man or a fool.
Mhm.
So that's why he said everything is meaningless and is a chasing of the wind in one verse, or it's vanity. Because what are you working for?
Right.
You can only drive one car at a time. You can only live in one house at a time.
Right.
If you like boating, you can only sail on one ship at a time. What really matters to me is that you leave people with a better environment or scenario than they were before they met you, and
Mhm.
after we leave, that they can decide for themselves,
Right.
is this something that I want to do and pass this on to others, or do I just want to be caught up in the transactions of life where it's all about me?
Mhm.
I got to make more money, build a bigger barn. We know what happened to that guy,
Mhm.
back in John 12, that he built a bigger barn, and God had to tell him, he tapped him on the shoulder, didn't talk about internet. He had a wireless connection. He goes, hey, knucklehead, you're coming with me. Then whose stuff will this be? So we can't be careful, even on our podcast. We have to be careful when we are sharing and teaching others that it's not about just the material, but it is, because we have to live.
Mhm.
But what would happen if we gain the whole world
Mhm.
and we lose our soul?
Exactly.
That's
And what
Matthew 26:16.
God,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's where it's it. That's where the map is. That's the address. So
what
if you're doing all the things to, make this life comfortable, and you're missing the bigger picture,
right.
and if you're not sharing the love of God and what that means to each of us,
Mhm.
we may never get another opportunity to
Right.
share or say things with others. There's a gentleman by the name of Haim Owen. I'm not saying his last name right. He's from New York. He came from Jerusalem. We're all the same age. We're in our 70s. We're 70. And we were talking yesterday. I said, you know what? You're going to be a guest on my podcast. This man is full of wisdom. He's an incredible guy.
Mhm.
And he is a coach, life coach. But what was interesting was he got what I was, sharing and giving.
Yeah.
And I said to him, what can I do for you? This was yesterday. Today, that would be impactful, that I could give to you. Do you know it stumped him?
Hmm. What?
It stumped him. The questions, like, he didn't know what I could give to him, because I asked, what can I give to you today that
Hmm.
would be impactful in your life? Now, I will tell you what we came down to this conclusion was, which is why I said, you got to come on. You got to come on. I got to tell them about you. You got to come on. Heim said he is physically disabled now.
Mhm.
Both of the lungs, the top of his lobes, have been removed.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
He can't hardly go from his chair to the bathroom without running out of breath. It's just
Mm.
difficult. Maybe he takes out his garbage. He's relatively mobile, but imagine him. Now I'm sharing it with your audience. You're like, well, should you feel sorry? No, because you know what he knows? The same thing we both know. We love God. We love our Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not here for a long time.
That's right.
But if I can share something and guide you, whether you, he said, these are his words, not mine, whether you pay me or not, I'm not doing this for the money. I get to do this for the joy of being here and imparting something with you
Mm-hmm.
to help you go from where you are to where you would like to be. But I'm not going to help you. I don't help people. You either want to do it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Wise, wise, wise human being. So I can't wait to have him on the show.
That's awesome. I'm excited about it. That's going to be really
Yes.
fantastic.
How
And
fun. This is
one of
exciting.
the things
Thanks
that
for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the cool things that I was doing is that what Jesus said before he said, follow me, there was a key component, a key word that he said to Peter, and it was, feed my sheep. That was the first three words he said, feed my sheep, before he said, follow me. Because feed my sheep, and that's what I keep saying to God, I keep saying, feed my sheep, that's what I'm doing, because there's so much abundance, and God put, I think you might have said this once before, there's so much abundance in that one seed, and the
Yes.
return on your investment is mind blowing. Anybody that needs to hoard money is ridiculous, because I give the example with my grandson counting 300 seeds in one cantaloupe, but there's 3 to a vine, which means
Yes.
900 to 1 return on your investment. That's just with the cantaloupe, not even in counting the 12,000 seeds, a 12,000 to 1 return for a sunflower seed.
See,
12,000 to
I do kernels of corn, and I got the data to prove it. In Illinois, it's all of us about environment too.
Yeah.
There are 800 to 1,200 kernels of corn on one ear,
Wow.
but they all came from one seed.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the one seed for each kernel has a minimum of 3 ears on one stalk.
See?
Oh,
So now
yeah.
you take one seed and you multiply, again, the average ratio between 800 and 1,200 kernels of corn on
Right.
one ear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do that times 3. That's over 3,600 or 1,000, excuse me, kernels of corn from one seed. God doesn't just give us what we need. He always gives us more than.
He
And that's,
Oh,
always,
yeah. Yeah.
always, always, I say this every time. Every time I pray for something, he's gone above and beyond what I've asked for.
Yes.
Car, when I needed my car, and I kept looking at that silver, Sebring, because mine was going to shot, right? It was
yeah, yeah.
and I said, oh yeah, we're running out of time. I forgot, but
Oh, right, right.
but I just want to say real quick. So he gave me. I asked 4 things. I said I wanted to come from my brother who sells Fords, by the way.
All
This
right.
is a Sebring convertible. Okay, by the way.
Yeah.
So, by the way, he sells Fords. So I said I wanted to come from my brother. I wanted to only be 3,000. I wanted to be silver. And I don't want to pay any money up front. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? My brother calls me. He goes, "Hey, Yvonne, I got something for you. I think you might be interested. A Sebring silver convertible, $3,000, exactly the price I wanted to pay with no money down." And my brother was giving it to me from a Ford shop. I mean, it was like answer. And when I got it, it wasn't just those 4 things. It was the deluxe model of those 4 things.
Nice.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And you know what? We are running out of time. I'm so sorry. We have like
Oh, it's okay.
left. And we have so much fun every time we have Dr. Hill on. It's a blast. I just love
I
it.
know.
This series is going to be great for anybody who wants to listen. It's going to be a riot. And
I'm excited.
forward to it much. And Robin, is there anything you want to add to what we've been talking about on this?
No, just so blessed, and just like where you're talking about, parable of the seed and all of that. Just and just loved what you guys added. I'm just in just listening in and really pulling it all in and growing even through this show. So thank you to the both of you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so very much.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a ride. I'm so glad to have you on. And in a few days, it's even going to be a lot of fun too. We got
Oh my goodness.
surprises.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh my God, it's going to be so much fun. I'm not going to spring out. I'm not. It's a secret. It's a
Yep.
But anyway, so I am so grateful. And did you want to say any last words, Thomas, before Dr. Hill?
Just again, just your generosity, both of you, with your time, your patience with me, Robin's encouragement, but she gets it in return. I just hope that we don't have a heart attack because we're too excited, and that we just stay level, don't get too high, too low, and just keep changing people's lives, keep being
Yeah.
impactful.
Exactly. Well, again, I thank you. It's such an joy. We enjoyed every single time. And Robin, thank you again for being a co-host for the show.
Oh, thank you. This is such a blessing. Thank you.
And we'll see you all again soon.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. See you
God
guys.
bless.
All right.
Blessings.
All right.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.